Bonjour mon petit chiffle, Amber here, and it's November. It's actually the end of November. Thanksgiving is in a couple of days. It's November, but I still have a good chunk, a nice little hefty number of books I'd like to read or to choose from before the end of 2025. So I thought that it could be a fun idea. I've done this on TikTok, but I thought it would be fun to do it on YouTube for once and share my 10 before the end. 10 of the books I'm hoping to read before 2025 is over. I'm just looking, and there are some chunky books in this pile, and it's daunting when you see them lined up, but it's fine. Everything's fine. It's fine. Before I get into that list, I want to share an honorable mention. So the first book that I read this year was An Education in Malice by S.T. Gibson. Regardless of my thoughts on the book, I did recently get Savage Blooms on the Savage Blooms book tour. I met Saint October, was that? In October. And I just think it'd be kind of funny, or kind of like full circle, if this was the very last book that I read this year. Looking at this pile, I doubt that's going to happen, but I just wanted to put the idea in the universe. Okay, let's talk about these 10 books. First and foremost, I need to finish The Poppy War. I have been listening to the Poppy War audiobook. This is a reread in preparation to go into the Dragon Republic. I finally have a copy of the Dragon Republic, which means I can continue and proceed and finish the series. I've had The Burning God, that's the third book. I've had The Burning God since like right after I got the Poppy War. It was like half off at Barnes & Noble, so I got it. I'm like, and I'll just figure out the second book when I get around to it. And then I just kept not getting around to it. But so I finally got the Dragon Republic. So before I go into that, I've needed to re-listen to the Poppy War. And I'm planning to continue filming the spoilery vlog for the series, despite the fact that I don't have the footage for the first book at the moment. We're working on it. Okay, next is the book I'm currently reading. When I planned to do this video, I hadn't started reading it yet, but here we are. And it's If It Makes You Happy by Julie Olivia. If it makes you happy. And first of all, let's talk about this cover. This cover is beautiful. I love this cover so much. Yeah, and this was a cover buy. I'm gonna be so honest with you, because it's giving Gilmore Girls. I love, look, finding out that Stars Hollow, despite the fact that it's based on some town in Connecticut, don't care, it's not actually a real place, is devastating, because I would love to be there, well, all the time, truthfully, but especially at this time of the year. So obviously when you see a book that not only looks like Gilmore Girls, looks like Stars Hollow, but is essentially pitched to fans of Gilmore Girls, of course I'm gonna read it. It's set in 1997. Beautiful. It starts literally like right after my 7th birthday. It starts in September of 1997, which was a time. And it's set in a small town in Vermont called Copper Run, I think. Copper Falls, Copper Run. Yeah, in Vermont. Would I say Vermont? In Vermont. Sorry, it's 12:30 in the morning. And it follows a main character, Michelle, who moves to this town for the next couple of months because she is temporarily taking over her mother's bed and breakfast. Her mother and her parents retired to this town from Seattle to open a bed and breakfast in this cute, quirky little town. Unfortunately, her mother's just died, and her sister is supposed to be taking over the inn, but her sister is finishing art school, so she's filling in at this point. She's also just gone through a divorce from this jerk. So it follows her, and it follows Cliff, who is the baker a baker in town. He also is a single father. He has 2 kids, a 16-year-old, and I think she's 6. So he is definitely the Lorelai in this situation. They definitely have like a Luke and Lorelai type of dynamic, but flipped. Yeah, it's cute. It's significantly larger than I was prepared for. This book is almost 500 pages, which is absolutely bonkers, Julie, for a romance. Next is another autumnal romance, which is also in a similar color scheme, and it's different this time, by Joss Richard. This book is fairly recent on my radar. It came into my life fairly recently. I don't even remember. I think it was BK Barson that might have shared it, and BK we trust, you know. This one is set in New York in the fall, obviously. Autumn in New York. Sorry, that's like one of the first songs on my fall playlist. It's like a second chance romance between former roommates. They're estranged friends who are like forced back together. They are forced to essentially move back into their old apartment, their old brownstone, and essentially are forced to confront the events that led to their estrangement, confront like feelings. Absolutely. And I mentioned in the video I filmed before this, I am also quite drawn to this book. The author of this book as well as the main character are Filipino. I don't think I've read many, if any, books with a Filipino character or by a Filipino author. So, yeah, that's kind of exciting. Great. Next is Their Eyes Were Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston. If you've been around these parts, you would have heard me say that I am currently really focusing on reading through like the staple Black classics. Last year I read my first James Baldwin with Giovanni's Room. This year I'm hoping to read my second, but we'll get to that. I started reading from Octavia Butler's backlist this year. Octavia Butler. I'd already read from Toni Morrison because I had to in school, but like read another. I've been like getting more. I'm just working through the staples, and so it's high time that I read Miss Hurston. I saw this movie, the Halle Berry adaptation, so long ago that I don't really remember what this story is about, but I know there's a hurricane at some point. That's one of the most important works of the 20th century American literature. One of the most important works of 20th century American literature, Zora Neale Hurston's beloved 1937 classic Their Eyes Were Watching God, is an enduring Southern love story sparkling with wit, beauty, and heartfelt wisdom, told in the captivating voice of a woman who refuses to live in sorrow, bitterness, fear, or foolish romantic dreams. It is a story of fair-skinned, fiercely independent Janie Crawford and her evolving selfhood through 3 marriages, my God, and a life marked by poverty, trials, and purpose. A true literary wonder, Hurston's masterwork remains as relevant and affecting today as when it was first published, perhaps the most widely read and highly regarded novel in the entire canon of African American literature. High time. It's high time. Thankfully, it's kind of really tiny, so that should be easy peasy lemon squeezy to get through. Okay, so next we are going into fantasy with Gideon the Ninth by Tamsin Muir. I had gone back and forth for so long about whether or not I actually wanted to read this book. Like when like the height of this book's popularity, there was discourse around the author. Don't really remember what it was about, but I think it was something to do with her there childhood trauma and like fan fiction. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. I don't really care. I don't know why it really struck my fancy this year that I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it this year. I think I want to read about lesbian necromancers. That's really all I know about this book. But people love it. A lot of people who I know who have similar reading tastes to I do, that to me, love it. When I bought the book, the bookseller was really hyping it up. She was telling me how funny it was. Didn't know that. So here's hoping I have a good time with it, you know? Especially because when I read a first book in a series, I really struggle. If I don't like the first book, if I don't like a book in a series, I'm still usually going to push through it. Unfortunately, that's who I am as a person. Okay, speaking of classics. This year, I read my first Bronte. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I read Wuthering Heights in September. And I actually enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I was going to. I've struggled with the classics in the past. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm a Jane Austen girly, but I think I could be a Bronte girly. So, the next plan is to read Jane Eyre in December. I was initially going to read this right after Wuthering Heights, but one, because I read that solely physically. Usually if I read a classic, I'll listen to the audiobook alongside it, but my brain was braining in September, and I was able, also I think it's just the way it was written. It's a good book. It's an easy book to read, but at the end of it, because of how bonkers and insane everyone in that book is, I'm like, you know what? Let's pause. Let's recharge. And for some reason, I don't see, I'm more familiar with Jane Eyre than I was with Wuthering Heights, because I've seen a lot of the actual film adaptations of it, specifically the 2004-5 one with Georgie Henley. Georgie was young Jane. Anyway, Miss Lucy Pevensey. So to me, it leans more winter than autumn. Autumnal. I don't know, I could be making that up. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna read this in December, like a cozy type, curl up with a big old blanket and a warm drink. I would love to be in front of a fireplace, but I don't know how to make that work. But yes, also these editions, speaking of, I did just get another copy of Wuthering Heights. I found this gorgeous copy in Home Goods, and my mom peer pressured me. So, don't you believe it? One of my goals for the year that I have not even seemed to have attempted to be successful at, I wanted to read more translated works, or at least books that weren't released in like North America. It's almost December, but hopefully, I wanted to read it this month, but my focus right now are the two fall romances. I do have Lost Souls. Lost Souls Meet Under a Full Moon by Mizuki Sugimura, and it's translated by Yuki Tajima from Japanese. Another quick, from Japanese? It's translated from Japanese into English. Okay. I don't know much about this, but it involves like this sort of like go-between who can help people speak to deceased like loved ones, or like, yeah, deceased loved ones. When a young woman from Tokyo contacts the go-between to request a meeting with a deceased TV star who once helped her, she doesn't expect a teenage boy to show up. Dressed in a designer duffel coat and carrying a tattered notebook, Ayumi Shibuya offers an extraordinary service. He reunites the living with their dearly departed. Meeting his clients at a luxury hotel, Ayumi lays down the ground rules. Each reunion is a one-time arrangement that the dead can refuse. The service is entirely free, and the meeting must take place during a full moon. As Ayumi arranges these reunions, we encounter a resentful eldest son who wants to ask his mother to unearth the deed to a plot of land, a teenage girl who blames herself for her best friend's death, and a weary businessman seeking answers about his fiance's disappearance days after he proposed. Already a multi-million copy bestseller in Japan, Lost Souls Meet Under a Full Moon is storytelling at its finest. Captivating, cozy, and compulsively readable, this is an unforgettable page-turner in which the living and the dead are given one last chance at closure. This one might make it on that list of books that made me cry. I feel like it might. Yes, I'm very intrigued. Also, another cover that really got me. It was just re-released from a US publisher with this cover, and I'm obsessed with it. Okay, next we have another classic. So I mentioned before that last year I read my first James Baldwin, and I'm hoping to read my second this year. Hopefully, before 2026, I can read If Beale Street Can Talk. I was about to say by James Baldwin, like I didn't just say that. First of all, I love these editions. These are the vintage international editions. I got the Giovanni's Room in this edition, so obviously I had to get the matching one. I remember I did see the movie adaptation of this. Once again, don't remember what it's about for real. I think there's like a couple, and are they having a baby or something? And someone's like arrested or something? Yeah. That's what I know. According to the Philadelphia Inquirer, hey, one of the best books James Baldwin has ever written, perhaps the best of all. That's nice. In this honest and stunning novel, James Baldwin has given America a moving story of love in the face of injustice. Told through the eyes of Tish, a 19-year-old girl in love with Fonny, a young sculptor who is the father of her child, Baldwin's story mixes the sweet and the sad. Tish and Fonny have pledged to get married, but Fonny is falsely accused of a terrible crime and imprisoned. Their families set out to clear his name, and as they face an uncertain future, the young lovers experience a kaleidoscope of emotions: affection, despair, and hope. In a love story that evokes the blues, where passion and sadness are inevitably intertwined, Baldwin has created two characters so alive and profoundly realized that they are unforgettably ingrained in the American psyche. Might even love this one more than Giovanni's Room, truthfully. Last but not least, I've already mentioned my romance queen briefly, and I'm going to say it again in BK We Trust. The last book I'm hoping to read, preferably next month, and obviously, when else would it be? It's almost December. Good Spirits by BK Force. First of all, how cute. How cute. She just showed the TikTok edition, and it's like a pink cover, and like the sprayed edges have like the cute little Christmas bows. So when it shows up, don't say nothing. This book, first of all, how cute. This is a holiday romance, if you haven't gathered, but it's like a holiday paranormal. Is this the By Ashy episode? It is. This is like a paranormal holiday romance that follows Harriet, who is an antique shop owner, and Nolan, who is the ghost of Christmas past, who I believe shows up either in her house or in her antique shop. And first of all, yeah, okay, sure. I don't know how this is going to work out. It reminds me of that one, is it a Hallmark or a Lifetime Christmas movie where the Victorian ghost man shows up and like they fall in love and you have to battle time, I guess. Yeah, she doesn't know why she's being haunted. He is a touch-starved ghost, and I believe she like is the first person in like 100 years or whatever that's been able to like touch him. I don't know much, but Miss Morrison can do no wrong in my eyes. And whatever she puts out, I'm gonna gobble it up. Yeah. Yeah, of course I am. So, it's almost 1 a.m. and I need to wash this wicked eyeshadow off my face.
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this time. We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this
Sorry. So I'm gonna wrap this up. And so yeah, okay, wow. Ooh, yeah, thank you for watching this. Let me know one or two, a couple books that you hope to read before the year is out. Let me know if you've read any of these and what you thought. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you like me, feel free to subscribe. All my places are down below so you can follow me and I'll follow you back. And I'll see you very soon. Bye.